Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so if you're learning French, you've probably hit a wall with the few concepts that are, quite honestly, pretty brutal for English speakers. But don't worry, today we are going to completely demystify French nouns, articles, and plurals. My goal here is to give you a really straightforward, reliable toolkit so you can just conquer these foundational concepts once and for all. So let's jump right in.
All right, let's just tackle the biggest hurdle right out of the gate. Every single French noun has a gender. Now, to an English speaker, the idea that an inanimate object has a gender feels totally random, right? Like, why does the table have a gender? But I promise you, it is absolutely manageable once you understand the blueprint we're going to lay out for you today.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The golden rule of gender. 2. Definite articles. 3. Indefinite articles. 4. Making French nouns plural. And 5. Cracking the gender code.
Starting off with Section 1, the golden rule of gender. Never learn a noun naked.
So what do we mean by that? It means you must always learn a noun coupled with its article as a single, unbreakable unit. Because every noun is either masculine or feminine, memorizing just the word for a table or a book is literally only doing half the job. You have to learn the article right alongside it. It's kind of like an anchor that tells your brain exactly how the rest of the sentence is supposed to behave. If you don't do this, total grammatical chaos ensues down the road.
Picture this. You're sitting at a cafe reading. Your coffee, le café, and your book, le livre, are masculine. So is the bread, le pain. But the table you're sitting at, la table, is feminine. So is the car parked outside, la voiture, and the baguette you're eating, la baguette. There is zero logical reason why a table is feminine and a book is masculine. None. So you just have to memorize them as these unbreakable units. Visualizing them in categories helps a ton, like thinking of masculine words in blue and feminine words in red or pink to really lock them in your memory. Moving on to Section 2, definite articles, getting specific.
This grid right here is basically your cheat sheet. In English, we just say the for everything. But in French, the actually changes based on the gender of the noun and whether you're talking about one thing or multiple things. Use le for a masculine singular noun, like le livre. Use la for a feminine singular noun, like la table. Now, if the word starts with a vowel or a silent H, you drop the vowel on the article and use L with an apostrophe. It just makes everything flow a lot smoother. So you get l'ami for the friend or l'hôtel for the hotel. And finally, for all plurals, whether they're masculine or feminine, you just use le, like le livre.
Okay, stop what you're doing because we need a massive pronunciation alert here. It is absolutely crucial that you pronounce the plural les as lay. It sounds exactly like the English word lay. Do not pronounce it le. The singular masculine article, le, sounds like le. If you mix these two up, native speakers literally won't know if you're talking about one thing or a whole bunch of things. Le is le. Les is lay. Got it?
And building on that exact point, when that plural les is followed by a word starting with a vowel, we use what's called a liaison. Basically, we blend the sounds together. So the S in les, which is usually silent, suddenly wakes up and makes this buzzing Z sound. Les amis becomes les amis. It connects the words beautifully, and honestly, mastering this is a huge step in sounding truly French.
All right, Section 3, indefinite articles, the non-specifics.
The logic we just learned remains exactly the same for a, an, or some. Un is for masculine singular, like un café. Une is for feminine singular, une baguette. And des is for plurals, meaning some, like des livres. So let's say you walk into that bakery we were imagining earlier. You can confidently drop a sentence like, Je voudrais un café et une baguette. I would like a coffee and a baguette. You naturally match the masculine a with coffee and the feminine une with baguette. Boom. Perfect.
On to Section 4, making French nouns plural, the mechanics of multiples.
Making things plural is actually super systematic. For the vast majority of nouns, you just slap an S onto the end, exactly like in English. Le livre becomes les livres. If a word already ends in an S, X, or Z in its singular form, easy. You don't change the noun at all. It stays exactly the same. Now, there is a pretty cool exception where words ending in all transform entirely into O's. So le journal, the newspaper, becomes les journaux. And lastly, think of water, l'eau, or a boat, le bateau. For words ending in O, you just add an X instead of an S to make them plural. But here's the crazy part, and you really need to remember this. The French love adding letters they have absolutely no intention of pronouncing. That plural S and the plural X2 are completely silent. You don't say them at all. When you say les livres, the word livre sounds identical to the singular livre. So you might be wondering, how does anyone know I'm talking about more than one thing? Your listener knows because they hear that plural article we just talked about. They hear les instead of la. They hear des instead of un. The article is doing all the heavy lifting.
Finally, Section 5. Cracking the gender code. Suffix clues and cheat codes.
So you don't always have to guess blindly when you see a new word. Certain word endings strongly point to a word being masculine. Endings like age, ma, ism, and o, also days of the week, months, seasons, and languages are basically always masculine. So words like le travail, the work, or le vin, the wine, fall right into typical masculine patterns. On the flip side, endings like tation, sion, te, et, and aunts or aunts are overwhelmingly feminine. When you hear la maison, the house, or la famille, the family, you really start to feel the rhythm of those feminine endings. Definitely keep these cheat codes in your back pocket.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a very reassuring truth. French gender can be tricky. Even native French speakers occasionally hesitate or second-guess themselves on obscure or rare vocabulary. It happens all the time. So seriously, don't beat yourself up if you accidentally call le chien, the dog, la chien. It is all part of the learning process.
Mistakes are literally just stepping stones to fluency. Do not let the fear of mixing up les and la hold you back from actually speaking. Embrace this blueprint we've covered today. And here's my biggest piece of advice for you. Pair what you've just learned with some French comprehensible input on YouTube. Go listen to native speakers talk and purposefully listen for these rules in the wild. Listen for that silent S, the les versus la, and those unbreakable noun article units. So, are you ready to get out there and start spotting these patterns in real life? Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.